Thank you, Yuki and CT. Fantastic. Some very authentic, we've heard that word authentic a few times today, right? Very authentic sharing. We are now coming to a close for this celebration. And I'd like to just take a few minutes to wrap up and really kind of focus on what's next, because that's the point, right? We can celebrate what we've achieved. We've hit the 30% mark. Just if there's one thing you remember today, we've hit 30% on top 100 PLCs. We have 900 plus PLCs that we are still targeting. And then, of course, there's the SMEs and the rest of the economy. So let's take a moment. Let's appreciate how far we've come. And then let's refocus that energy and figure out what's next. Obviously, 30% Club has been a huge catalyst for this movement, right? You can get involved as an advocate. You can sign up to be a mentee. We're doubling numbers every year. So if you're even just considering being a mentee, even if it's in a few years, come talk to one of the steering committee. We've got a variety of events coming up. There's one with Harriet Watt in the near future. Follow us on LinkedIn if you want to stay tuned. You don't have to commit to all of it. You know, pick and choose the ones that resonate with you and that you think you can maybe take back to your organization. As I was thinking of how do I close this, the question still is, so what's next, right? Yes, we've hit a tipping point, and that's great. And hopefully that momentum, tipping points mean that momentum should almost naturally continue to move in that direction. So what is next? 2/3 of our public university graduates are women. That doesn't necessarily bode for diversity in maybe 30, 40 years. Yes, we've got a board that's all female, and that works maybe for that business, but that's maybe not the objective either, right? How do we create diversity and become truly inclusive? Earlier this week, I met a gentleman, sits on the C-suite of a public listed company. He's, you know, like many, trying to retire, and he keeps getting pulled back in. And I was like, okay, once you retire, I assume you're going to look for a board role, because that, you know, he fit that profile. Again, my own sort of unconscious bias there as well. And he was like, yeah, but they only want women. Now, it's funny, but it's also a little scary. In the work that I do, so I do some sort of diversity and leadership and strategy work, but I've been working more with all male groups to understand how is the DEI conversation impacting them, and in this case, possibly negatively, right? If you look at postings, yes, they want women. If I look at my peers, you know, hopefully I'm still on my way to my peak. A lot of those guys are worried. You know, what does that mean for them and their careers? And I think that's something we should be very aware of, and that's something we can contribute as leaders. And so my request to you, perhaps, have a chat with one of your loved ones. Have a chat with one of your peers. Have a chat with a guy and try and understand what do they, because they know DEI is here, they know it's here to stay, and some are still sort of pushing back. That's okay, right? But what are some of the fears? How can you help bridge that gap? Because we don't want the one against another, right? We want to bring the right people to the table to create a future for our children and grandchildren. And so I think that's what's next. Yes, we're looking at the 50% Club, Malaysia, right? But how do we really bring everyone to the table, including those who might feel like they're being replaced? And statistically, you know, we are seeing that. Okay. With that, I would like to say thank you. And I do have a list here. I'm going to look at my cheat sheet because we are merely a catalyst, and we couldn't have done this without everyone that supports. We would like to thank our speakers, phenomenal panel. I see that, you know, some great sharing. I appreciate also that you stay until the end, because I think we have all these great speakers and all this knowledge we would like to share. Thank you to our 60+ in the works corporate advocates and members. Thank you to our 106 mentees, that includes cohort 8, who've completed this program and are now trailblazing. Thank you to our 80+ mentors. We couldn't have done it without our mentors, male and female. Thank you very much. We have fantastic partners. PwC has really been the driver specifically for the board mentoring program. Thank you. And on the next slide, please. And then, of course, Asia School of Business for hosting us. Maybe we'll be back, so thank you very much. CNET-G has been a huge supporter. If you guys don't know Raj, you do know Raj, right? And of course, Maybank for really sort of driving this forward. I'm almost done with the thank yous. We've got a phenomenal steering committee. Thank you to all of the steering committee of the 30% Club. And we have tens, if not close to 100 plus volunteers that have been on this journey since day one. So thank you to all of the volunteers for making this happen. Okay. I would like to say thank you to Leila and Amy. It's been a privilege. I've really enjoyed doing this. I said yes, and then I was like, oh no, what do? I actually have to prepare. So thank you for the opportunity and supporting me in my journey as well. Thank you. We have refreshments outside, and I would like to leave you with one thing. Tanshri Wahid said there's this affinity bias, right? And we all know what that is. So when you go out, don't go talk to the same people, right? Congratulate your cohorts, say hi to your mentor, but maybe find 5 new people. Yes, it's networking, but maybe 1 or 2 of those you can think about building you got to start that journey. Start building that relationship. Okay, it's been an absolute privilege. Have a wonderful afternoon.